Hello. Well, it's good to be back again. And as usual, we love to do fun stuff here. Today, we'll be creating an Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, or VPC, with AWS CloudFormation. This should be a pretty short video. I just thought it would be cool to showcase how to rapidly create a VPC without having to do the clicky on the console, just using CloudFormation templates, which is what you'll be doing in a normal environment, business environment. Okay, so quick intro. CloudFormation gives developer and system administrator an easy way to create and manage collections of related AWS resources. Now, this is not limited to VPC. I think I made a video also how to rapidly use CloudFormation to build and deploy an application, which was requested by a client, actually, a friend, sorry. Okay, related resources, provisioning and updating them in a predictable manner. So you can quickly go to your templates and do versioning, and just make all the rapid changes and deploy that rapidly as well, without having to go through the hassle of shutting down stuffs and then maybe re-enabling or reassigning stuff. We can use sample templates in CloudFormation, or we can build from scratch, and we can describe resources, dependencies, and even runtime parameters to run an application in the cloud. Now, we can deploy version control, like I mentioned earlier, using the CloudFormation as well. So we'll be seeing that. And the lab overview for today will be creating VPC using CloudFormation, which I'll show you what the template looks like and walk you through step by step how that template was written. Then also we will be deploying CloudFormation templates. We'll examine the components of the templates. They will update the CloudFormation stack. Then also we'll examine the template with CloudFormation Designer and delete CloudFormation pack as well. Now, this can be done with Terraform, but today again I'm not going to be using Terraform. I'm just going to be using a template, a YAML file. Then we'll be uploading that YAML file. So let's quickly get into the business. Let me walk you through, spend some quality time walking you through what the template looks like. So if you can see my screen clearly, I've got this VPC1.yaml. Now quickly we can see at the start AWS templates format version. We define the version, which is always the first thing to do there. Then we can give a description if we want to. Okay, this description is also good, just in case you're handing this over to maybe your sysadmin or someone else. They can understand exactly what this template is actually doing. So for this template, we deploy a VPC. Now we specify the resources. So under the resources, we can see specific VPC. The type of the resource in this context is EC2 and VPC. We can see that right here. Then under the properties, that's what we describe something like the CIDR block notation, which we've seen the 10.0.0/16. Then also we enable DNS host name. We set the value to true. Then also we put up tagging. Now sometimes people ask questions like, why do we have to tag? Well, it's necessary for you to be able to understand how to uniquely call for that stuff, which we're going to see where we're using this tag later on. So we give a key name, then also we give the value, which is the lab VPC. Now on the internet gateway, which is the next resource we have here, we're also specifying right here the AWS EC2 Internet Gateway. Now, all this you can do from your console, the VPC console anyways, or the EC2 console, but we're doing that using CloudFormation. So right here we can see the property. Under the properties, the key name, the value is the lab internet gateway. Pretty much that's all we have to do. We don't have to define anything like the CIDR block because we've done that in the VPC. Okay, great. Next, we are going to attach a gateway, which is actually usually what you do in a normal context. So in this type, again, it is AWS EC2 under EC2, remember. Then the VPC gateway attachment is what we describe this type as. The properties, under the properties, we can clearly see the VPC ID. Now you can see we referencing the VPC ID. So you see why the importance of having this key tag value thing there. So referencing the VPC ID, which would have been created within this stage of the templates, we reference that. The internet gateway as well, we reference internet gateway, which would have been created within this stage. Then moving on to the public subnet definition, right here again is under EC2 subnets. Again, we're going to be referencing the VPC. Then we're referencing the subnet within the, if I go up, your subnet must be within the CIDR block of the VPC. So we can see here we're using /24, which obviously will be in /16. Then the availability zone we are selecting. Now we will be getting availability zone based on the description which you have passed in here. Now the key tag, again we give this a name, public subnet 1. We'll repeat the same thing for private subnets. We can clearly see that happening here again, referencing the VPC, the subnet within the same VPC block as described here. For this, we're going to .1.0/24. Okay, availability zone, again we're specifying that to select, then the tag again. Now the next phase here is the public route table. Again, it's within the EC2 instance. Under the same dashboard you'll find this. So we're referencing the VPC ID. Again, this must have been created. If there is an error creating the VPC ID, this stage will not actually be executed because we won't have a VPC ID to populate this creation. Then we'll give a name tag, public route table. These names are actually very important for you to be able to call them later on. Then the public routes, right under the public routes, again we're specifying a route. We're referencing the public route table which we've created from this section here. Then also the gateway ID, we're referencing the internet gateway which we have created up there. Okay, next we have the public subnet route table association. So route association is also very important. So what we're doing here is basically we are creating a route association which will be referencing the public subnet in this context, then also referencing the public routing table. Then also for the private, we're doing a private route table as well, referencing the VPC. Then we'll do a route association for the private as well, referencing the private subnet and the private routing table. Then finally we'll have an output which will just be a description referencing the VPC tag here, then also the availability zone, and describe that all right here. And this is the last phase of the template. Now you can see how quickly it is to write a template like this. These are stuffs which you would probably be doing from the console, but why do you want to do this? Because again, it's easy for me to come here programmatically change any of these things. Let's say I want to change the subnets, I can rapidly do this and do a versioning of this and rapidly deploy this as well without having to go through the templates, stopping, then making the changes. No, right here on the fly I can just do all that, version this and push this in, and that's how fast it is to use a template like this to manage and control VPCs. Okay, so this is what the template looks like. Now we're going to go into the part where we will be deploying this in AWS and seeing how that works. Okay, let's go have some fun. Okay, so going into the hands-on practical session, we'll click on CloudFormation and we'll upload our template in there. So we will click on create a new stack. Now we can do with new resources or with existing resources. So we will be doing with new resources in this context. So again, we've got a bunch of all this stuff here. Remember I did mention we can create a template in Designer, or we can use a sample template, or we can do template is ready. So in this context, since we want to upload, we will be working with the option that allows us to actually do that. So we'll upload a template from a file. Then we will go right to our resource location, which is this template. No, not this one, sorry. Should be in my downloads, VPC, this one there. We'll select this and we'll open this. So we're uploading that template. Now once it's done uploading, we'll just click on next and go ahead with this. We can also view the template in Designer if we want to view it. You can see right off of the bat, puts that in an S3 bucket and gives us the URL to where that template is. Now we can view this if we want to, but again I'm not going to be doing any of that. I'm just going to click on next. So right here we want to create a stack, so we can create a stack. We will give it a stack name. We'll just call it a simple name, and we have the option to set parameters in this context. So we're just going to click on next. Now on that next, we again have this option of doing tagging, like I did explain from the walkthrough at the start. Tagging is necessary sometimes, or it's important, and it helps you to identify uniquely resources and keep track of resources. So it's the best practice to always tag, but I don't think we'll be tagging in this particular session anyways. So uniquely also we can specify permissions for these beyond tagging. So permissions, we can either use IAM role name or the role Amazon resource name. We can also select the option here based on what we have. Permissions is also a good way to help you restrict access. Then also stack failure option, in case it fails, what happens in a normal production environment, you want to be sure what this would be. Either you roll back all stack resources or preserve successful provision resources, just so you do not have things shutting down. Okay, now we've got the advanced option of doing stack policy, start rollback configuration and notification, as well as stack creation options, but we're not doing none of that. I'm just going to click on next. Now we have the option to actually use default values, but we can see at the moment of the batch, we can review everything which we have under this context, and we can just go ahead and create this stack. If you need to make any modification based on what you're seeing here, for instance, there are no permissions and I just do not want this to be accessible by everybody, I can set an IAM role to manage this, which is also the best practice, which I would recommend you do. Again, I can set a stack failure option just in case. Okay, for this context, it is rollback on failure and it's enabled. So we would review all that, then we'll just go ahead to creating this stack since we're okay with what we have. All right. So we can see the stack status, create in progress. So we'll come back when this is done and we will have a logical ID for. So we'll have the stack ready. We'll go visit the VPC and see what it looks like. Okay, so we can track the progress by looking at the events. We can see at the start we've created this status complete. Okay, that's for the lab. The public routes creation complete. The public subnets, private subnet. The public subnet routing table association is still in progress. The private as well in progress. Then the gateway has been attached. Public route, all these are still in progress. This helps us to keep state track on what the status are for each of the block within the templates which we had probably defined here, so we can understand what the status is, if this is ready and good to go. So at this we can clearly see that from the start, user initiated, all the way creating all the necessary resources to the point where we are at the moment recent. It is done, it is ready. So this is ready. Let's go view this and see what it looks like. So next we're going to click on the resource. Currently we do not have a value, just refresh this. Wait, okay, great. Now we can see resources. We've got an attached gateway. We can see the physical ID. We can also see the type EC2 VPC gateway. The status is ready. We can see the internet gateway as well is ready. We can see the gateway ID over there. Then we can also see the routes, private, public, and then also we can see the routing tables, and we can see the VPC. So this is also another way to understand what is happening. We can also look at outputs. We can see the templates. We can view a couple of things within here. So let's examine the VPC. Right here, I'm going to search for VPC, and we will just navigate to VPC and examine what it looks like. So I'm going to click on VPC right here. My network is always very slow. Okay, so we got this up. Now we can see if I do filter by ID, I can see the lab VPC right here. So I'm going to click on the lab VPC. Then now we'll be able to see resources related to this lab VC. So let's go look at this and see what it looks like. Okay, so let's do a brief analysis. Right here on our VPC, we can see the VPC ID. We can see the details. Under here, we'll find just to verify the CIDR block. If we're looking at this alongside what we have specified here, we can see clearly that we are accurate from our templates. DNS, we set that enable host name, remember, true. So we can see right here off the bat, and also DHCP, we can also see the DNS host names enabled, DNS resolution enabled. And then here we'll see the CIDR block definition. We can see flow logs. At the moment, probably we may not find anything there. So we can also use the action to maybe make, delete, change. Now we can create this same thing right here. But again, remember the whole essence of CloudFormation. So again, if we have to do here, we need to do this, then go to subnet. But right off the bat, we will have a subnet created already because we had described that in our CloudFormation template. So if I click on subnet, we will see the subnets that have been created, public and private. We can go into each of them just to review what they look like. Again, we will see at look at this is clearly matching the description in the template. So we will be reviewing this probably to see that exactly, yes, what we've been able to describe within the template matches this. For this, it's /24. We can see that matches what we described. Now we can also look at routing tables within here if there's any created at the moment, and we can see the /16 and also the gateway. We can review the network access control list. I don't think we didn't describe NANI within our templates, but again, at the moment it is set to allow all in this context. Okay, very important to understand how that works. We can as well go back and maybe see the other subnets, which I think is the public. Takes a while to load here. Okay, that should be private. So we've reviewed the public. The private, you can review the private as well. Obviously, it's going to have the description as well matching. You can see that /24.1/24. Okay, great. Understanding how this stuff works is very important anyways. Again, just to point out that we can clearly see, for instance, if I open the details here, we will see that the VPC ID which we reference, it matches. The routing table reference matches, and all these stuffs, remember we did not enter them, but again from the templates, this is able to pick or extract those values. Once the VPC is created, it extracts that ID, uses that to create the subnets, then extracts these two values, create the routing table, then go ahead with the internet gateway as we have described within the template file. Okay, that's the uniqueness of having a template file anyways. We can see those routing table for public and privates as described in our template again. Okay, we can go fine grain. You see, there's a whole lot to do here, but again, that's the power of the template file. Okay, let's see what comes next. So now we're going to make an assumption. Let's say our network grew and we're trying to gain resilience. Then we now add the more availability zone. So we have another template file here. We can see we have another availability zone here. Then also we've gone a bit more granular in the sense that within we've defined destination CIDR blocks within our private public routes. Then also within our private subnets, we've clearly defined a CIDR block right here, which we want to allow specify. So this is a bit more granular as compared to the initial templates. So let's say this is the new template that meets the requirements which we have for the business. We want to rapidly update everything. So what we need to do is again go back to our CloudFormation and upload these templates and see what this template looks like. And we'll be able to view that right off the bat within the VPC. So let's go ahead and do that. So first I'm going to go back to CloudFormation here if my internet is not extremely slow. So in our CloudFormation, we can see that lab 1. We'll just select that, then we can update this. Now we can replace current template, which is what we want to do. Obviously we have a new template now, right? So if we have this in a bucket, we can specify the bucket URL, but again we will upload this file since we have it on our local box. And do not forget, we can also use JSON file if we do have it, accept templates in JSON file. So before I do this, I'll just view in Designer just to show you what the Designer looks like, so we can see what it looks like right here in AWS Cloud. Okay, it might take a while, so I'm going to pause this for it to load. Okay, perfect. So let's quickly review the Designer. So again, we will see that this is a YAML file specified, and we can clearly see everything which we were looking at in our Notepad++ is right here off the bat. So the uniqueness in this is within this Designer, we can clearly have this description which shows us what we have, and we can right here off the bat review and navigate stuff. Now we can zoom this in or zoom out to have a pictorial view of what it looks like in the design. So within this design, we see that we have the public, the private description, the VPC description, the routing, and all that. Pretty much smooth, fine stuff to actually review. I wish I can go full screen here. You can even download this thing anyways, but I'm not going to be doing none of that. Just to show you how smooth or pretty cool this stuff looks like. So I'm going to go back so we can go complete our task. All right, sounds fine. Just leave it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Next, we'll just click on next. We see already we have that uploaded in the bucket again. We'll just go next on this. we remember we're updating the current file which we have. For parameters, we can go ahead and specify parameters, but I'll just click next on this. We're not doing none of that. Key value tag, we're not, I could give a tag for this, maybe updated version or something, but I'm not doing none of that. Permissions, again, I could set an IAM role. I could also change the current role which was selected. I could also leave this rollback thing on failure, and I'm just going to go next on this. Now review whatever you've done. I'm pretty much okay with that. I'm just going to update this stack, then we'll go and view what this looks like once this is done and populated. Okay, we'll wait for this. Okay, so our update has been implemented. Now we're going to quickly go review what it looks like. So remember, we've gone through all the phase, and if I refresh this, we will see that yes, whatever we've done, it's completed, as we can see here. So let's go back to VPC. We will see that now what we have supports high availability. Remember, off the bat here, we can clearly see that we've got 2 availability zones, and we also have got a bunch of other subnets added within what we've defined. So going back to this, I'm just going to go to VPC. Well, I hate the fact that this is slow, but I can help it anyways. So we got this loaded right here. We've selected the VPC. We will just view the subnets. Let's clearly see what the change looks like. So under the subnets, we will be seeing 4 subnets now. So availability zone has been more like a high availability application deployment model. So we've got 2 for public, 2 for private. In case one fails, the other one is strongly available, and we can see that clear definition there matches what we have within the template. If I can go back to the template and just show you that stuff, right here is the .3, then right here is the .2, and we can clearly see that right here off the bat as well, .2, .3. Okay, now the importance of this is you understanding the requirement that meets the application, that meets the business, hence how rapid we can make update the whole thing without having to go through each of these one after the other using CloudFormation. Then again, if this was Terraform destroy, so let's go do some Terraform destroy here. I'm going to go back to, I wouldn't have to start deleting each of this one after the other. I'll go back to my CloudFormation and I'll show you how easy it is to just at a click Terraform destroy. Just trying to have fun here anyways. Tear down everything off the bat. So to destroy, all I need to do is select the particular templates, which is this, the stack. Then I just need to do the clicky delete there. Deleting the stack will delete all the results. You see, it gives you that warning because everything is going to be taken off. All the VPCs, routes, gateway, everything will completely go off. And that's how easy it is to manage this stuff, which is the importance of actually CloudFormation here. So I'm going to click on delete stack and wait for that to do its magic. Delete initiated, so it's going to take a bit of a while to clean up stuff. Once it's done, I'll come back and show you guys everything is gone. Then we're good to end the recording here. Okay, so it's gone for real. Okay, so if we go back to looking up VPC, just so I can show you that shit, my language, I'm sorry, I mean shit, like that stuff is gone. Okay, so ending this whole recording, we can clearly see that if I click on this, it's all gone. We don't have it anymore there. So that will be it for today. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all love the content. Please do like and subscribe. And the next recording, we'll be using CloudFormation to deploy an application, and we'll show you how that stuff works again. Pretty fun stuff. See you in the next recording. Thanks for your time, and bye. Have a good day.